Hi there, I'm Tanya Windiger, and today it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder and that deep despair, the depression, that really heavy depression. They call it clinical. I think it's a lot worse than clinical depression. There's not really a word for this. When you have this big sense of that hollowness, that emptiness, and for me it almost feels like I'm sort of free falling into this deep, dark, never-ending emptiness. And it's the hardest times ever. But over the years, I had a lot of professional help with that, but over the years I kind of learned to recognize it before I was like really in free fall, when I was still able to catch on, because most of the time for me, just before that, I had these real big cravings, either for, I had phases when I was younger, it was like alcohol and cigarettes and stuff, and then I had lots of food issues I don't really want to go into because that might be triggering for people as well. But one of them is that real big craving for chocolate for myself. And it is because I had this big sense of emptiness within, but it almost mimics the feeling empty, hungry, stomach hungry, empty feeling. Well, no matter how much I ate, how much, even the biggest block of chocolate would never really satisfy that emptiness. And they were all really signs leading up for me before I had this real big drop. So while you learn to become aware of these little sensations, I kept falling all the time. I don't know about you, but it was becoming incredibly frustrating for me because I just couldn't read my own warning signs, so I kept falling. And yeah, I'm sure I don't need to describe to you what that depression feels like. You most likely, having complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you've been there, so you know this heavy feeling. But what I want you to know is that it does get better. With all these mindfulness exercises and things like that, we can really learn to tune into our body and read those early warning signs better. And this first sign, when I started getting that sensation that I'm hungry or something, or wanted more food while I didn't really need it, they are signs. And the only way you can satisfy that emptiness is by actually allowing yourself to have connections to another human being, to have that sense of belonging. And for me, when I get really, really overwhelmed, the more I disconnect myself from people, the more I isolate, the more I feel empty, hollow, and alone. And I'm losing my voice. You can tell that's probably one of the things I struggle with the most. So even my voice fails me. And I do still sleep, and I do, like, at the moment, to be honest, I fall into that workaholic mode, so that's one sign for me, because the more I work, the less I have to kind of attend to my friendships and things like that, so I'm cutting people off. And then when you only have one or two left, and if that person then goes on holidays or something like that, then all in a sudden you lose all that sense of connectedness, that sense of belonging, and you're falling. And then there's that not a hungry feeling, that empty feeling, and that you can't satisfy, because that's exactly how you kind of felt when you were a child, when all this abuse and trauma was happening, this abandoned loneliness, that rejection, and that unlovable feeling, that really, really heavy stuff. And that's what still comes into adulthood, and it still gets us in those times. So that's one key thing with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, that we have to become really, really good at reading the early warning signs. So I don't know what they are for you, but as I said, I've just given you a couple of examples of what they are for me, and I so hope that you find them too. I do fall into that free fall a lot less. I am at the cliff at the moment, so, and that's why I want to shoot this video, and I want to talk about that. Even knowing this is something that's the most difficult part for me, having connections, having that feeling of belongingness and things like that, because I have huge trust issues and lots of issues. But I'm working on it, and you're listening to this, I know you're working on it too. So, and together we're gonna keep uplifting and embracing each other, and we're gonna make it, and we deserve to have fulfilling relationships and having a sense of belonging and feeling worthy and that. So with that, I'm sending you lots and lots of love and rainbows as always, to rainbows to connect. Okay, bye for now.